Okay, well let's get started. So thanks everybody for joining us today. I know people have busy schedules and busy lives, and we certainly appreciate you taking some time out of your day to learn more about our digital marketing programs. There's the digital marketing and the content marketing, which I'll explain more about shortly. So today there are two parts to this presentation. I'll give my little bio in a second, but I'm the program manager. I'll talk about the program logistics and things like that. Then we have a very special guest, Justine Melman, who is actually an advisory board member, and she's going to talk a bit about trends in digital marketing and really about the customer journey, which is the new thing that really is a focus in digital marketing. So just a quick agenda. I'll talk a bit about why you should choose York in our program. I'll talk a bit more detail about the marketing, digital marketing and the content marketing program. Justine then will speak for a short while and again, share her insights. And then I'll actually take you to our website where I'll show you a bit more information where you can find more information and how to register. And at the very, very end, we will have a Q&A. So we'll stay on as long as you need to answer all your questions. So you can get all the information that you need. Just some quick housekeeping items. I am recording the session, so if you need to jump off, that's fine. We'll send this out to everybody probably tomorrow or the next day. If you have questions throughout the session, certainly feel free to send us an email. In the question box. Like I said, we won't really answer them during the session, but at the very, very end, we will go back and answer all of your questions. So before I jump into the poll, I should probably just explain a bit more about my role. Justine will do her own introduction later. So I am the program manager for the program, and really that entails looking after everything that has to do with the program. So I do not teach any of the courses. I am not a content expert. But I really manage the logistics and anything that has to do with the program. I often say it's like running a small business, so everything from worrying about instructors to some of the marketing to budgets to retention. Really, I think the most important thing that I do is I worry about your experience. So the student experience is super important to me, so that's where I focus most of my attention to make sure it's a positive one. So that's who I am. Okay, I'm going to do a quick couple of polls just to get to know you guys a little bit better. Some quick questions. So my first question is, just wondering if people are new to the marketing role. Do you currently work in a marketing role? Just a quick yes or no. Just another second or two for people to vote. One more second. Okay. So you can see from the responses that my screen's jumping around a little bit. So more people have experience in marketing, which is great. Some people don't, which is also fine. And we'll explain how both of those things factor into our program, but just know it's important for us to kind of know where you're coming from, just so we can kind of cater some of our comments to your backgrounds. Okay, so the next question, I was just wondering, which program are you interested in? So we have 3 programs. We have the 3-course digital marketing certificates. We have the 3-course content marketing. We have an 8-course program which combines the digital and the content. And obviously not sure. Oh, very interesting. Okay, excellent. That's not what I was expecting, so that's good to know. So it seems that most people actually have an interest in our 8-course full-time program, which is super, and obviously 40% are not sure what they want to do, which is perfectly fine. And then my last question is, I was just wondering why you're interested in our program. Are you looking to change careers? Are you looking to start a career? Or are you looking to enhance your current career? Maybe you're working in marketing, but you want to specialize in digital. Okay, very good. So it looks like most people want to specialize in digital, which is great. And the other group looks like they're changing careers, which is also very good. Okay, thanks everybody for your insights on that. It's very helpful for us to have a little bit of a background so we can kind of cater our questions and our comments to your experiences. Okay, so why choose York? As most of you probably know, this is a new program for us, which is launching for the first time in January. And when we build this program, and the way we build a lot of our programs is we build them to be accelerated. So that's one of the things that makes us quite unique from some of the other competitors is in this program there'll be a very deep dive into the curriculum, but you also get to the market faster when you look at the competitors who offer similar 36-hour courses in the different topics that we are. So that gets you to where you want to go faster in terms of an understanding of the material, but also gets you to looking for a new job or changing careers or enhancing your skills. Hopefully do that a little more quickly in our program. So the way we're also designing this program is incorporating real-life world projects. And what we mean by that is, yes, a lot of different programs, even the ones that we offer in different topics, they'll have case studies and things on Tim Hortons or Air Canada, etc. But in this program, we're actually going to be using an outside organization to help us get real-world projects. So you're actually working with real clients on real problems, so that when you're actually working in the classroom, you can apply it to a real-life situation, which will give you the sort of benefit of having a portfolio at the end that you can then take to an employer if that's your interest, or back to your current employer and saying, these are the things that I've done, and I can show you exactly what I've done because it's a real-life project. So, and not just doing the actual digital work, but having these real-life projects, interacting with real companies, real people, also gives you what we think is really important, which are those soft skills, working in groups, communication skills, critical thinking, time management skills. Those are the things in many cases which will help you stay successful in the job world. A lot of people may have some knowledge in digital marketing, but a lot of times it's those soft skills which people don't realize is what really makes you successful. And then obviously the last thing is we have two formats. So I'll talk a bit more about the formats shortly, but we have a part-time offering, and then we have the full-time offering, and they're designed slightly different, and they obviously have different courses, but it does give people the option to find the one that best works for them. So that's why the flexible format is really another thing that we offer, which we find is a big advantage. So let me give you a little sense, and you may, sorry, hold on one second, let me just, Are you not seeing my slides? Huh, hold on a second. My screen seems to have frozen. That's very interesting. Give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. You didn't really miss anything. All I did was show this little slide here on why you should choose us. It was just a graphic, but I apologize for that little slip up. So as you probably know, you probably looked through our website, but here are the courses that you will find in our program. Why isn't my screen showing? I don't understand. Sorry. Sorry, I apologize. Let me just give me a second to figure out why you're not seeing my screen. I would like you to see my screen. I've got some slides on them. This is very frustrating. I apologize. Well, let me just continue on, and I will voila. Okay, I think we're back on track. Sorry for the little blip there. Okay, so you should see on your screen, hopefully, my the two streams. So we offer a program which is 3 courses in just digital marketing, and this is the program that's launching in January. So this program will offer 3 courses: the fundamentals of digital marketing, and this course really is just the foundation of digital marketing and understanding the ecosystem of how digital marketing factors into marketing in general. It also explores how social media is consumed across all devices and platforms, the pros and cons of each, and it introduces search engine optimization, SEO, SEM, privacy issues, and those kinds of things. The second course, which is marketing for search engines and social media, looks at how search SEOs and SEMs are different and how they can drive more traffic to your website. It also looks at some of the key metrics of how you measure success. And the third course, the user engagement and marketing automation class, really looks at ways to improve marketing automation, to improve efficiencies and reduce costs. And those kinds of automations are things like emails and social media, other web actions, etc. So again, quick overview of those courses, just to give you a sense of what they're about. If you're in marketing, you may understand them. If you're new to marketing, some of those terms and topics may be sort of new to you, but that just gives you a quick little overview of what that is. So then on the other side, we offer a 3-course certificate in content marketing. So in this program, the first course, the planning analysis for content marketing, really looks at why content is important and how it impacts your return on investments. It looks at the different channels like Facebook and newsletters and blogs and videos and how you write for those different platforms. And obviously it's going to look at strategies and best practices when it comes to content marketing. From the content creation sort of course, really looking at how to effectively promote your content, how to write your content, looking at influencers. Oh, sorry, I take a step back. I read the wrong thing there. So the content creation is about what types of content there are, what works, writing for SEO, storytelling, copywriting. That's on the content creation side. And as I said earlier, which was the wrong course, for the content promotion amplification course, you're looking at how to effectively promote your content, paid versus earned versus owned media, and looking at influencers. So again, just a quick overview of what those things are. But those 2 programs are standalone, 3 courses, and the first one to be launched is the digital. And then what happens with the full-time offering is we combine the digital with the content, and then we add in 2 additional courses, one being the fundamentals of marketing, and the second being business in the digital age. So I know a fair bit of you are actually new to marketing, so that fundamentals of marketing course will really help you have a broad understanding of just marketing in general, looking at consumer behavior, branding, the 4 Ps, pricing, those kinds of things. And then the business in the digital age is again geared for people to really understand how business fits into marketing and how they are complementing each other and how they're both super important, but you need to understand how business functions to understand how you can be successful in the marketing world. So, and that course is going to have more of a slight to the digital side than being a straight business 101 type class. So together for the full time, you have 8 courses. If you're just doing the 3-course digital, obviously it's 3 courses, or the content on its own is also 3 courses. So hopefully that all made sense. If you have questions at the end, I'm certainly happy to answer. So I wanted to talk a bit about the blended format. So the 2 programs that are in the 3 courses, the digital marketing and the content, the 2 programs that are 3 courses each, are actually offered in blended. And what we mean by blended is it's 7 weeks of online learning and 1 week of face-to-face, and it's on a weekend. It's a Saturday, Sunday block. So probably 7 hours on Saturday and 7 hours on Sunday. So it's not exactly a flipped classroom, but a lot of the work that you'll do online will prepare you to sort of be in the classroom for that one weekend. and really apply what you've learned. The 2 short certificates are direct entry. There's no application required. Obviously, they're 8 months. Well, not obviously, they're 8 months. They're basically 2 months for each course, and you take 1 course at a time. Again, that's because people are typically balancing life and work and families and those kinds of things. So what happens is we want to make sure you can still continue working, and that's why that most of the program is done online. And then you have that 1 weekend block where you come face-to-face with your group. It is a cohort-based program, and what we mean by that is students are actually taking the program together as a group. So the students who are in course 1 are the same students who are in course 2, the same students who are in course 3. And really the benefits of that are the fact that you get to really build some relationships with your students. You get to have study groups, support groups, hopefully a network as you're trying to find work. Maybe somebody's already out there in the field and they know of opportunities, and you can sort of connect with them that way as well. So really that model works very well for us, and we've been really successful with having a cohort-based versus just signing up for individual courses. All the courses have graded assignments and projects, so that's just, be aware of that. They may be slightly different in each program, but you do know that each course does have activities, assignments, projects, which are graded. And all of our instructors are practitioners, so they're not full-time faculty that spend their days just doing research. These are people who actually work in the field. They're senior level executives, and then they're obviously teaching for you, which really allows you to have access to the most current trends and access to what's sort of happening in the field, and obviously gives you another chance to network with people who are actually working, who also may have some great connections for you. I should just say the full-time version is fully face-to-face. So I didn't have a slide for this because I assume people know what face-to-face is, but it is a face-to-face version, and I'll share a bit more about that in a moment. So I thought it'd be helpful for you to see the schedule, even though I said it, sometimes visually it's helpful to see it. So as an example, your week 1 would be online. Week 2, everyone would come together for the Saturday, Sunday block. It's at York on our campus. And then weeks 3 through 8 would be back online. So in week 2, you get to form relationships with your peers. You start to build groups. And then obviously you go back online and still do some group work and interact with each other. But that work is sort of done independently on your own time, depending on when the requirements are and the deadlines. But each week, if you log in early in the morning or late at night, that's really up to you based on your schedule and your other commitments. Just a sample of what a full-time course load looks like. So from the full-time program, and that's going to launch next fall. So we've got certainly a fair bit of time if that's your interest before that launches. And this program, because it's full-time, is actually offered 2 courses run concurrently, and you meet twice a week. So you can see from the example here on the screen, the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing meets on Monday and Thursday, and the Business in the Digital Age meets on Tuesday and Friday. You'll see it's the same time, and that's the case with the entire program. So once you start the program, you can then schedule your other commitments outside of it, knowing that you're in class from 9 to 12, and then from obviously any time after 12 to the next day, it's up to you. You should probably block off about 2 to 3 hours on top of each class for homework and assignments and readings and group projects and that kind of thing. So when you're budgeting your time, just keep that in mind. What else can I share? That's probably enough for that. But that's how that works. And it's the same schedule for the entire program. So again, if you're in the 9 to 12 slot, that's what it is for the entire 8-course program. So again, you can schedule your time accordingly. So that's all I really wanted to say about the program and some of the details, just giving you a high-level overview. I'm happy to answer questions at the very, very end, but I thought it would be important to spend more time with Justine sharing her insights. I just unmuted Justine, so she's now actively can share. So I thought I'd just start by saying Justine is a Vice President of Marketing Communications at Flybits, and she's part of our advisory board, so she was really instrumental in helping us determine the courses and program outcomes and looking at some of the soft skills and what was really important there. And and how to thread that through the curriculum. So there's a team of about 7 or 8 senior level executives who are part of the advisory board. And Justine was kind enough to join us today to share some of her insights. So I will ask her a few questions, and then she'll obviously respond and share her insights on, as I said, on different trends in digital marketing and specifically about the customer journey. So I thought I would just sort of maybe ask Justine to share a bit about her background and introduce herself and kind of share a bit about how she got to her role today working in digital marketing.
Thanks, Todd. Hi, everyone. So my background is really, I consider myself to be a digital native from my career because I have always worked in the digital space. I had my first startup back in the late 90s and then worked for a series of companies like Holt Renfrew, the Globe and Mail, eBay, Yahoo, and Cineplex, always working in digital roles. So I've always done digital marketing. Before Flybits, I'd only ever done it from a consumer standpoint. Flybits is actually a B2B company, so this was my sort of foray outside of consumer. But my lens to the marketing world has always been on the digital side. I've grown up with all of it. Social media started during my career, mobile apps and all of that. So everything that I've learned has really been on the job learning, to be honest with you, more so than anything that I've learned in a classroom.
Great. Okay. Justine, I don't know if you want to tell me to flip the slide. I know to flip the slide now, but when you're done answering the question, we can flip the slide, but maybe just give me a little cue to do that.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, Justine, if you could maybe share what you're seeing in the job world. What are some of the trends in the field that people should be aware of, and as they're thinking about enhancing their careers or starting careers, and what they should be learning about digital marketing?
Sure. So, I think the thing that I've seen the most over the last few years is digital's gone from being campaigns that are more sort of around tactics and specific channels. So you'll do an email campaign, you'll do a social campaign, you might do some banner ads, and more the push is to integrate these channels and integrate the campaign. So it's omni-channel, which includes all of your regular digital channels, email, social, etc., but things like web and mobile as well. So by integrating them, you're really connecting the dots more and connecting all the pieces to give you a much better overview of how you're connecting with your customers across all of the channels that they're going to be using. So it's gone from sort of these various tactical kind of campaigns to these more integrated campaigns. I'm also seeing that campaigns are getting much more strategic and sophisticated. So you might, a company might be interested in promoting one product, but they really have to stand back and understand how the promotion of that product or service fits in with the rest of what they're doing from a marketing standpoint. Because every single piece of communication you put out there, every single ad that's going to touch a customer, you really have to look at them as a whole, because they are, that's how customers are looking at them. And the last thing is just the sophistication of analytics and how that's evolving, and how it's letting you really create campaigns that are tied together so you understand the results of the campaign as a whole, but how the individual parts impact each other, not just how they perform, but how the actual impact that they have on the overall results.
Justine, can you talk a bit about the customer experience? I know we've sort of had this discussion offline, but can you share about how that fits into digital marketing?
Yeah, customer experience is really about thinking about the entire customer journey. So from awareness, acquisition, retention, all the way through to advocacy, and it's stepping back from looking at anything by one channel and just looking at the entire customer journey, and every single moment that a customer might engage with your brand. When an organization implements a customer experience practice, they're also connecting all of the different parts of their organization. So it's not just marketing. It includes maybe the e-com team, the customer support team, digital strategy, product development, and everybody starts to function as this one unit to deliver to the customer's expectations throughout their journey. And the last thing that's really important when talking about customer experience is the connection of the data. So, Todd, sorry, if you want to, yeah. So, in this slide here, you've got the customer journey map, which, is all the stages that the customer experiences. You've got your data, which is really the connection of every single point of contact with the customer. So it could be how they're engaging with your marketing campaigns. It could be what's coming through your customer service center. It could be their purchasing behavior. Every single piece of data gets connected so that when you're creating your omni-channel strategy, you're looking at every single channel, understanding where those channels play a role in each step of the customer journey. And then you're also able to connect that data so they are, again, all integrated to give you that sense of, the levers that you can, move here and there on one channel and how they're going to impact another. So it's a much more sort of holistic and fulsome approach to understanding your customer and what they experience with your brand as a whole. And it's really, digital marketing then becomes an important piece of your omni-channel strategy, but it really has to play with all the other functions in an organization that impact the customer.
Justine, is it possible to give us an example of sort of how you've used this sort of customer journey mapping in a real life situation to kind of
Yeah,
help us understand how it fits in?
Sure. So my before Flybits, I was working at Cineplex, and I was involved in the customer journey mapping exercise. It was myself and somebody on our operations team. And this is important because I brought in the digital lens to understand how our customers were, what their journey was across all of our digital channels. But then by having somebody in operations, we understood, what their experience was in our theaters. And that could be everything from, arriving to our theaters, when they're buying food, when they're going to the washroom, when they're actually sitting down in their seat. So it was piecing together all of the digital touch points with all of the physical touch points to create a very holistic journey for our customers. And in doing that, we also delved into a sort of empathy mapping approach, which is to understand across the whole journey, what are customers doing? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? And what's really impacting their decision? So if, for example, if they're thinking about going to see a movie tonight, what really are they thinking? Are they thinking that, there's good selection, there's not enough selection, that there's a specific movie they want to see? They're thinking about the time of that movie, the location, whether they should eat dinner beforehand. So all of these things play a role in understanding your customers across every step. So we were able to put together this really comprehensive map of our customer journey, right from awareness through they've left the theater and how do we stay engaged with them. And because we were able to really map this out, we were then able to step back and say, okay, what are the efforts that we're doing here as an organization? So on the marketing side, what are the campaigns that we're putting out? What stage in the customer journey is a campaign hitting? Are we, trying to make them aware of new menu offerings if they're coming to a Cineplex VIP theater, for example? So rather than that just being contained in itself, that it's, promoting VIP food, it's understanding where they're seeing that in the customer journey. Are they seeing that in the awareness phase? Are they seeing that once they arrive at the theater? And then because we did that empathy mapping to understand what they're thinking, feeling, and doing, we have a better idea of how to connect that marketing with their actual customer experience. So it's not just pushing things out at them, but it's really understanding where they are in that moment of time so that we can be more thoughtful in the campaigns that we're delivering. So that's sort of, one example of and it was a really powerful example because it also made sure that when we were doing our work, if it wasn't aligned to improving the customer journey in one way or another, then it wasn't work that we should be putting our resources into.
Super, thank you. So last question, I was just wondering if you would give any advice to the students who are on the webinar today as they're thinking about changing careers or starting their careers. Like, what would you give advice to someone who's looking to take a program or learn more about digital marketing?
It's an excellent question, and I think there's two areas. I mean, I love the fact that this program at York works on real world examples, because that's really going to give you so much access to understand how businesses work and what's important. And then it also, to Todd's point, gives you that portfolio so that you're able to say, this is the work I've done. It's really meaningful because it actually solved this problem, and I can show you how we really did it. And then when you're applying for a job, make sure you use that. I've hired a lot over the years, and people just send in a resume. There's no cover letter. There's nothing else that makes them stand out. And when we're getting hundreds and hundreds of applicants for a single role, it's really hard to make yourself stand out. So when you submit your resume, make sure there's a cover letter. If you've got a case study of something you did, attach it to your resume. And if you don't, put together a couple of slides of how you would approach the role. But always think, what can I do to make myself stand out among the hundreds and hundreds of other people who are going to be applying here?
Ooh, that's great advice. Well, thanks very much, Justine, for all your insights. Very much appreciate that. So thanks. Okay, well, Justine's going to stick on the webinar for a bit. So if you have questions for her, we'll answer them shortly. So before I get to the questions, though, I just wanted to take you to our website for a quick sec. Okay, so here's our website, which I assume everyone has been to. I'll just point out a couple of quick things if you haven't been on the website. But so there's lots of information about why you should do the program and some other bits of information. And then here's the different programs we offer. So there's the standalone digital marketing, standalone content, and then there's the full-time. So we'll just click on the digital one for a quick sec. So again, this will give you specific information on the digital program. It'll give you information on how to enroll. There's the cost. You can sort of register, etc. If you want to talk to someone from our team, you can certainly click on that button. If you want more information at the bottom here, there's some links about our advisory council, so you can see the different people who helped us. There's Justine again. You can see the different people who helped us. You can see about the program outcomes to kind of learn from a high level what you will learn when you complete the 3 courses. So anyway, there's lots of good information. I encourage you all to really look at that. And again, if you have questions, please reach out to us. So let me go back to my slide. Okay, so I've just put this one slide up here, which is just information on different people you can reach out to if you have additional questions, or if you want to talk to our advisor, Carmela, you can certainly reach out to her. Allison's our registration coordinator, you can reach out to her. You can certainly come into the office and speak to people. You can make an appointment, you can call us. So we're pretty flexible in allowing you the right place and time to come in and learn more about our programs. So I'll leave that slide up if you want to write some of that information down if you need it. Otherwise, I'll go through the questions that I've received so far. If they're for me, I'll answer them. If Justine can sort of chime in, I'll pass it them to her. So the first question is from Dave. Dave's just asking. Okay, so he's asking about the schedule and the timing. So each course is 2 months long, 8 weeks, but I think I said 8. The program takes 8 months to complete, because in there you've got your holidays over the Christmas break. You've got classes between each classes, like a week, just to sort of clear your head and do some things you may have to do outside of the classroom. So the whole thing in total takes 8 months, but the actual physical courses certainly equal 6 months in terms of the time you'll spend in class. But when you factor in holidays and time in between classes, it does end up being closer to 8 months. Hope that answered your question, Dave. There's just a question about the cost. So the 3-course certificate in digital and the 3-course certificate in content marketing, those, oh, I should put my those courses are part-time, and the fee is the same no matter if you're a domestic student or you're an international student. If you're thinking of doing the online program, there is a different fee for that. So that hasn't been posted yet because it doesn't launch until the fall. We haven't actually opened up the fall yet. But yes, the program will have a different fee structure. if you're a domestic student or you're an international student. And I should say on the international side, for the full-time program, there is an application process. So you need a degree, you need an IELTS score of at least a 6.0. So if you don't have that, you can reach out. But basically, those are the two minimum things we need, because the full-time program is a post-degree program. Even though most of the students doing the part-time program already have a degree, it's not a prereq requirement that you have that, and we don't have an application process. You can literally just go to the website and enroll. Okay. So somebody's just asking about the blended model for the 3-course program, and if they miss a class, can they make it up later? You'd certainly have to be in person at the weekend block, because that's the only chance we have to meet face-to-face. So if you miss that, that's going to be a bit of a problem. For the online component, it's usually broken up by weeks. So if you're, let's say, on a work trip and you miss something during that week, yeah, there's time to make it up, but you'll certainly have access to that information way before you leave on your work trip. So you can hopefully plan accordingly and submit your work early, or make arrangements with the instructor to submit it when you get back. But it is pretty flexible in terms of there's no live component for the online component. So you're not going to be asked to be online Tuesdays at 8:30. That's not the case at all. So there are set deadlines within the week, but when you do them, maybe you do that before the kids go to bed. Maybe it's after the kids go to bed. Maybe your boss gives you some time during the day to do that work. So hopefully that answered your question. Masumal, hopefully I said that right. So Evelyn is asking, so for someone completely new to the marketing world and thinking of doing the part-time program, would you say digital marketing gives you a more basic overview versus content marketing? Justine, do you want to try and answer that? So if they do the digital program, would they get a better sense of marketing and how it functions as compared to just doing the content on its own?
Yeah, I think that they absolutely would. You know, the content piece is should be part of marketing in general. There's content that's developed for both consumer marketing as well as B2B marketing. And if you wanted to specialize in the development of content and content strategy, I think that one's really important. But if you're really just looking to get an overall sense of what's involved with digital marketing and the practicalities of it, then the digital course is definitely the one to take.
Yeah, I agree, totally. The other thing I would just sort of add is if you're really brand new to marketing, you may want to think of finding some marketing 101 type class just to get a basic understanding of the foundation of marketing. Because marketing is certainly not the fancy ads you see in magazines and stuff, or the fancy commercials. It's a lot about research and measurement and understanding your customers, and that stuff will be covered certainly, but not to the degree. It's going to be, I think, an assumption that you'll have a basic understanding of marketing if you're doing the part-time program, because it is a specialization in just the digital side. So hopefully, Evelyn, that answers your question. If you have more comments or questions, certainly reach out to us and we can do our best to answer them. Okay, I think your second question is the same as your first. Thanks, guys, for your questions. These are great. So if you have more, please post them. If you don't, that's fine too. We'll certainly call it an afternoon, but I'm happy to stay online as long as needed to answer all of your questions. If you have a question or you think of something later, certainly reach out to Carmela. She can certainly be the first point of contact, and if she doesn't know the answer, then she'll reach out to me, or we can reach out to an instructor. Yep, one sec, Dave, I see a question. So, feel free to at any point reach out, call us. We're happy to always answer your questions. So Davis is asking about the content program and when that's starting. So right now the plan is to either start it next fall, which will be the same time as the full-time version, or in the winter. We haven't yet exactly figured out when that would launch. So obviously the digital one is the first one to go, which is in January. The second one that is confirmed is the full-time version, which will be in September. And the content one is the one that we're still trying to sort out the exact details, if it gets launched in September or it gets launched in January. So part of that's just based on need, part of that's based on demand, and pace is sort of also based on our own logistics and infrastructure and what we can handle from new program launches, because we have got lots of new programs that are happening. So hopefully that answered your question, Dave. Okay, there's one more question. Yeah, great question, Massimo. Great question. So the question is, if they start with the first certificates, let's say they do the digital one, and then they decide they want to do the full-time version, you would certainly not need to repeat those digital courses again. So don't worry about that. You can certainly, we'd work with you to like transfer those courses in so that you wouldn't have to worry about one, attending, and two, paying for the same course twice. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. So yeah, no problem. We certainly expect some people will decide to do the full-time program after they've taken just the short one. And we'll definitely work with you to make sure you're not repeating courses or being charged something that you don't need. Good, great question though, thank you. Any other questions? I'm happy, like I said, Justine and I can stand as long as needed. If there are any more questions, we'll just give another few seconds. But I just want to say thank you very much to everybody for sticking out and joining us today. And we appreciate your time. There is one more question, so I'll bounce back to the question. You're welcome, Evelyn. So the question was, when's the last date for admission to the digital program? So because the program is actually general admission, no admission application required, there really is no specific deadline. We allow students to register usually a day or two after the course begins. So right up to the start of the class, you can register. From the application one to the full-time version, we do have some more stringent deadlines, more for the international students because they have to worry about visas and those kinds of things. But we're pretty flexible as long as there's space. We're going to do our best to get you in the program. So don't worry about that. So the questions around, is there a max number of students that will allow into the program? Yeah, I mean, I don't expect us to hit it the first term or two for sure. We could probably accommodate 40 to 45 students in each sort of blended course. If we had 20 or so, 25 the first time out, I'd be very, very happy. I think that's a good sized group just to kind of, go through the program. It's not going to be too stressful for students, and worrying about 40, 50 students, same for the instructor. So I'm hoping for about 25 the first time out, but certainly from a cap perspective, we can handle probably about 45 in each version. The full-time version, we could probably handle even more, just because that's our more traditional version, and we can, it's easier to handle that than in the face-to-face version. Oh, question about finances. So our programs are actually considered part-time, and they're through continuing education, obviously. You're not eligible for OSAP or any other funding. So unfortunately, students do have to pay for the courses at time of registration, or we do have payment plans if that's helpful, but you are not eligible for traditional degree kind of OSAP funding. And we don't have any scholarships at this time through our office, so you have to find them elsewhere if that's something you need to do. But yeah, good question. Thanks, Massimo. Yeah, so Dave's asking about, will the program run? Yeah, no, absolutely. I will run the program with 8 students. I would not sort of, if I had 2 students, maybe not, but we got a bigger problem if I only have 2. But if I've got 8, I'm running the program because I wanted to gain some momentum, to move forward. I'm expecting more, but in terms of running it with a lower number, absolutely, I would definitely run it just because I want, one, to start the program, and if it's small, and better for you to get more one-on-one attention with the instructor. So, yep, don't worry about that. Good question, Dave. Thanks. Cool. Okay, any other questions for me, or any questions for Justine about just the digital space and about anything that you're interested in knowing about the field or trends, or making sure this program aligns with what you need to know to be successful in the job world? Okay, next question. Oh, good. Massimo is asking, are there any co-op, internship, or industry attachments planned for the program? So yeah, at this point, we don't have any internships or co-ops. What we do have is that work project, which again is working with real companies. but that's certainly not a co-op. So if you're looking to do something like that, there's probably ways to, volunteer your services somewhere. We don't have an infrastructure, unfortunately, for those kinds of things. If something comes across my desk, I'm certainly happy to share it with you. Maybe I can reach out to our advisory board and see if they have things that they're aware of in terms of internships, but it's definitely not a formal thing through the program that you should expect to have an internship or any other, formal sort of work placement kind of experience. Yeah, good question. So Dave's just asking about the networking opportunities with real people and real companies. 100%. So one of the roles of the advisory board is one to give us some guidance and direction, but the other sort of thing, and help us promote the program. But one of the things I want to definitely take advantage of is their wonderful experience and their years of experience. So yeah, I'll definitely plan to have some career type panels where I'll bring people in, and Justine can share more about her experiences and her journey, and you can ask some very detailed questions around the field and whatever you want. But that's definitely a goal of mine, is to have those kinds of events and activities. One, for you to get some more insights, but also to give you a chance to get in front of people who maybe at some point will be hiring people in the digital space. So yeah, great question, and for sure that's a goal. Thanks, guys, for all the great questions. I don't see any else coming in. I'm on two different screens, so sorry for you seeing the side of my head there. All right, well, it is 12:48. I'm sensitive to people's time, so I do want to just, again, say thank you very much. I want to thank Justine for sharing her time with us and sharing her insights in the field of digital marketing, some of the trends about the customer journey. That was all very interesting, because I'm not a content expert, so it's always nice when I learn something new. Anyway, thanks, everybody. If you have more questions, reach out to us, and I really do hope you consider our program when you're thinking about enrolling in a digital marketing program. And enjoy your afternoon. Thanks very much. Thanks, Justine.
Thanks, Todd.
Bye.